were barely breathing when your chest was heaving. You were feeling quite adverse. You tried medication for asphyxiation, but it only made it worse. Then your nerves synapsed and your lungs collapsed. It was too late for the nurse. With one final gasp, you're dead at last. Now it's time to call the hearse. So you're dead. You're really, truly dead. And as you're lying here in your final resting place, you might be looking back over the events of your life, and you may find yourself thinking, how the hell did I get here? Probably in one of these. Some fear it, others revere it, but safe to say, everyone has some kind of reaction to a hearse. It's a symbol of something most of us don't like thinking about, but death is inevitable, and something's got to haul us away. To put it simply, the hearse is a vehicle that carries the dead, but it's more than just a car with a big behind. It's got hardware. Hardware for the dead! In the back compartment, there are 8 to 10 cylindrical rubber casket rollers mounted horizontally. The casket moves across skid strips and is clamped with beer pins in beer plates that push rubber-faced pads against the end of the casket to keep it from sliding out the back of the hearse. But casket handling wasn't always such an art form. In earlier times, dead people were transported in covered farm wagons, and funerals took place in the family parlor. But as the years passed, the hearse became a vehicle specific for funeral processions, and funerals moved outside of the family parlor to a family business. In 1880, just 2 short years after the famous Donnelly murders in his hometown of Lucan, Ontario, Charles Haskett had a bright idea and decided to go into the funeral business.
Well, I'm 4th generation. Colin here is 5th generation. My great-grandfather established the business in December 23rd, 1882.
I think we have a good tradition of service here in Lucan, and to be honest, there's a lot to live up to, but also a lot to draw from, and thankfully a helpful past to help me in the future. Things are not going to change. Everyone is eventually going to die, and there's always going to be a need for funeral personnel. Basically, the only time that we use the funeral coach is on the day of the service. We have other vehicles that are suitable for transporting caskets or stretchers in a minivan who go to the place of death, whether it's at the hospital, residence, nursing home, motor vehicle accident. Our suits sort of give us away as we walk in the door who we are and what we're doing, and the more discreetly we can do that, I think the better we are. It's amazing. In the funeral procession, you can see lots of times farmers will pull over in their pickup trucks and take off their ball caps. Most situations, the Cadillac funeral coach that has quite a bit of respect that goes right along with it.
Downtown processions don't really get the same respect on the road, and downtown funeral homes have to be able to offer a wide variety of services in order to accommodate changing tastes. No, this isn't a hotel. This is Ogden Funeral Home, where you check out before you check in. With a staff of 16 funeral directors, Ogden can do 9 funerals at the same time.
I would like to believe that the Ogden Funeral Home is one of the most progressive funeral homes in Toronto. Meet the needs of the different cultural groups as well as the different generational groups. And so I believe we are one of the funeral homes that's on the cutting edge to have the equipment, the services, the facilities to be able to meet all those needs.
This is one of our largest visitation rooms. As you can see in this room here, you don't really get that typical morbid feeling. It's more of like a contemporary room. I think a lot of it has to do with the decor that we have. And in this room as well, because we can have it in a living room style, we have a big screen TV right behind me here. And you can use it for videos. Families quite often also do PowerPoint presentations with their photos, and quite often they do prefer this as one of their visitation rooms.
So this is our traditional chapel. It seats about 200 people in here. It has a lot of technical aspects about it that other funeral homes don't have. Speakers throughout the funeral home can hear the service. We also have cameras mounted above. Yeah, so this is our audiovisual room. Traditional aspect of the old funeral home is the organ here, which few families use on services. And then the other side, the main control center here, the whole audiovisual thing. We can control the camera using this joystick. Pan around in the chapel, so everybody's sitting out in the other rooms that aren't able to be in here. Or if they're watching on the internet feed, for anybody who can't come here to the service, who knows, maybe they're in some other country, they'll be able to log on and actually see the funeral service with everybody else. It's awesome. 2006, here we come.
Well, as you can see from the horse-drawn carriage days, these vehicles are now much more elaborate. An average funeral coach today is running somewhere around $100,000, anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000. So the cost of upkeep, of maintaining these vehicles, putting gas in them, as we know today, is very, very expensive. Over 90% of our families, because they come from different countries, still hold the belief of the importance of having some sort of ceremony and then having a means of getting from where that ceremony is being held to their final resting place.
I grew up in Portugal, so our house was right across the street from the cemetery. And I always been curious with the bodies and what happened at the funeral home. But I'm terrified of death and dying. I'm not overly religious by any means, and the death part of life terrifies me because I don't ever want to leave my friends and family. I do like the procession, though. I do like the lead car and the funeral coach. Like, if I'm going to have a funeral, it's going to be big. I want the police escorts. I want people screaming and crying for me. I like the big show.
Your funeral can be one of the most expensive parties you ever throw. I mean, once you take into account the transportation of your dead body, your embalming, the service, your burial, the casket, tombstone, and all that damn paperwork, it can run you anywhere between $6,000 to $12,000. That's a lot more than just a shirt off your back. Damn table's cold. Headrest's good, though.
I think there are a lot of myths that go on about what happens to a dead body or what can happen to a dead body. When a body is dead, the body is dead. There's no sudden movement that can take place. There are no words that are spoken from the deceased or anything like that. For instance, this is a needle injector. These pins with the wires on them are inserted into the gum tissue below the lower teeth and above the upper teeth. And then the mouth is simply held shut and the wires are twisted together. The shape of the eye cap will retain the natural curved shape of the eye. And then the small barbs here will also help to hold the eyelids closed. So it's inserted much like a contact lens would be. All that the process of embalming is doing is displacing the blood within the body with a chemical preservative, whereby we are accessing a major artery and a major vein. We have a pump that is mixed up with the fluids inside it, and those fluids are injected into the body. There was nothing gross about it, and knowing that it's intended to make this process, the grief process, easier on the next of kin, makes it worthwhile.
Not everybody wants to make death easier to look at. Take Kurt Perrin, for example, costume store manager and lover of weird-looking hearses.
This is my '88 Caprice hearse I picked up in March in Shelburne, Ontario. And I had it airbrushed and etched by a good friend of mine. My favorite thing besides the artwork, because he's always great, is the etching on the car. This is my favorite character here, the devil just sucking the breath out of the guy. The demons and the way he's got it flowing down through the side, the skull incorporated in the skull, faces and faces, the name Possessed. Goes good with me. I'm into all this kind of morbid stuff. My wife and I went down to Hell, Michigan to a big show on a Saturday, and we picked up these ones there. This here one was, I won for the newest coach. This one I won for best stock interior. I like the little seat they put on the top of this one, represent interior. These pipes are extended a little further than they should be. They're a little illegal. I had to put the covers on the tailpipes because a lot of people walk in them and hack their legs open. Got interested in hearses around the time I was 16 years old because I'd seen a wrestler, Sweet Daddy Siki, owned a purple one. Every time he was around, everybody would be crowded around the hearse. I said, oh, that'd be great for me. I was a scruffy character back then. I'm not really attracted to death, but I'm interested in all that stuff. I don't fear death. A lot of people think you're unusual because you drive one. How are you? It's a great car. Actually, when you do buy them, they do have an odor, a foul odor to them, formaldehyde or whatever. This one had to be cleaned 3 times before we got rid of it. The big draw for hearses was an attention getter. Even when you're younger, dating and that. As you're older, well, I got the wife now, so that's far from the question. But back in the time, yeah, it was a great attention getter.
So the question now is, how did the hearse go from a vehicle of reverence to a chick magnet? It wasn't until the death of Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, in 1861 that funeral practices went beyond religious rituals to become an elaborate outward expression of grief and mourning. People wore black veils and heavy clothing, and the horse-drawn funeral procession became more than just customary. It became fashionable. Today, many funeral homes don't own their own hearses. They rent them from a hearse rental company or a livery. But if you're looking for a horse-drawn hearse, talk to this guy.
I'm Bob Clark, and I'm one of the co-owners of Toronto Funeral Coach. What we're looking at here is my horse-drawn hearse. As far as I know, it was built around 1870 in that era. To us, it seemed to be the only thing that a livery owner should have. With us, it's been kind of like a mascot. We love her, we look after her. As you see, there's 7 plumes up here. And years ago, that was what status you were in life. If all 7 plumes were on there, that would mean that you were the mayor or something of the town. But if the buggy went by with no plumes on, then you knew what position you were. When I started in funeral service, I made $8 a week and lived in the room over the funeral home. Those days, I thought it was fabulous. Okay, keep going. You're good, Bob. That's good, Ben. You guys are great. Yes, you are. Serving families is the major thing. And this is moreover than getting a joy out of working in the business. You enjoy what you do in the business, but it's not a case of, wow, whoopee, I work in funeral service. It's, I like working in funeral service. This certainly gives me satisfaction that I've made the right career choice. I think, anyway.
The first motorized funeral was held in Chicago in 1909 as a last request of taxi driver Wilford A. Pruin. The body of a horse-drawn carriage was transferred onto the chassis of a light truck, marking the beginning of a somewhat underappreciated and downright creepy chapter in the history of automobile design.
From the early part of the 20th century, this is an example of a carved hearse. While this looks like it might be stamped metal and it's painted, this is actually all hand-carved, hand-chiseled wood made to resemble draperies and flowers, beautifully ornate. This is the Woody of the hearse world. This is one of the most unique funeral vehicles ever built. This is a flower car. This particular one is a 1966 Superior Coupe de Fleur flower car. While it looks like a hearse, it also looks like a pickup truck. So when you have a lavish funeral, you would have these flowers. They'd be brought from the church by the flower bearers, and they would be placed onto the flower deck here against these rails. Hit a switch inside, this deck lowers, taking the flowers away from the wind stream so that the petals aren't lost on the way to the cemetery. Flower carrier, yes. Pickup truck, yes. But this vehicle is so much more. This is a full end load hearse. You open up the back and what you find inside is everything you'd find in a regular hearse. We have rollers, we have beer pins, we have places to put a full-size casket to be used in possibly a multi-body funeral. Well, 2 vehicles are expensive to maintain. So what the funeral coach industry came up with is this, a combination car, a vehicle that is two cars in one, a combination hearse and ambulance. This is a 1960 Superior Royale combination car. It's a hearse and an ambulance. Well, it looks like a hearse on the outside. It also has lights and sirens on. A hearse doesn't need anybody to ride in the back, but an ambulance does. So this hearse ambulance has seats which flip up so an attendant can ride with a sick person. This is a Landau-style hearse, the most popular style of hearse today, identifiable by this gracefully curved bar on the quarter panel. Each bar is different, each bar is unique, each coach builder used a different style.
The Landau bar is actually styled after the hinged support bars mounted on the outside folding top of a convertible horse-drawn hearse. But today, it's really just decoration used to identify the vehicle as a hearse.
We're looking at a 1975 Superior Regal three-way hearse, an incredibly rare and special automobile. This vehicle does things that modern hearses can't even dream of. This hearse has suicide doors. The front door opens like you would normally expect, but the rear door is of what's called a suicide style. Most hearses you think of are loaded in and out of the rear door. This coach is able to be loaded out the side door.
Thanks, Jim. Underneath the casket table, there is a Y-shaped track that works with a motor and chain system, a lot like a garage door opener. It can pull the casket out the back door or pivot it out either the right or left suicide door. Many consider the three-way to be a more dignified entrance and exit of the dearly departed. Rather than being loaded and unloaded from the back like cargo, they can enter and exit through the side just like a live person. Except that they're dead. But by 1984, they stopped making three-ways because they were too expensive to maintain, and too many people were making dirty jokes about them.
Hearses are long and sleek and curvy. They're sensual, especially the older ones with all the curves and the shapes of the body.
There's something very romantic about driving down the street and the way she's smooth, almost like a boat. There's just very sensual riding in her.
Very sensual car, soft and smooth.
It's the world-famous 1984 Cadillac Superior, known as the Pornmobile. It was used in a film movie, a gay porn movie, about 2 months ago. This is where the shots were literally taken. Renting it out to the movie business for porn or for going out for the night, to me it doesn't really matter, as long as it comes back in one piece and it's cleaned out.
It's a 1966 S&S Victoria three-way. We've owned it for, about 3 years now?
2 or 3. We got it off a guy from Pasadena who was selling it to finances, Mustang?
Not Mustangs, it was Thunderbird.
Whatever.
A Thunderbird convertible. All but the front seat is original.
And the curtains.
And the curtains. My wife made the curtains. I have a family of 5. I needed a way to haul the kids, so I took a Dodge Caravan seat and made it so I had a removable seat that was still safe for the kids to ride.
There's been some extensive work on this car, as you can see. The most impressive work we've done is top to top. Probably about a good 12 to 16 inches. And then of course we got the monster blower. You got your exhaust side pipes, skull head ornament. You got to have the airbags. Oh!
I went for pink because it's such a female color. I wanted to make sure everyone knew that this was a woman's hearse, not a guy's. This is my regular driving vehicle, and my children love being picked up in it. It's the cool thing. Everyone freaks out when I come and pick them up. So it's a great car to get around in. And good for groceries. And lumber.
Enthusiasts sure can do a lot of things with their hearses. But can they set a world record? Besides the rarely seen SUV hearses that have just arrived onto the funeral car scene, today's hearses are made mostly from Cadillacs and Lincolns, and they're custom built in only a small number of factories.
Whether this is a Lincoln Town Car or a General Motors Cadillac chassis, both of which are popular in the hearse industry, there are no ordinary chassis. It's been specially engineered, in that case by Ford, to be converted into a hearse. It has heavy-duty wheels, brakes, and suspension components. The main structural modifications to a hearse are the fact that the wheelbase is extended by cutting the car in half, the frame is extended, the drive shaft is extended, then the major components of the rear half of the body are replaced with a large fiberglass shell, then several reinforcements are installed to support the weight of the casket table and the extra load. A 3/4 inch piece of pressure-treated plywood is routed to shape and mounted to the steel casket table frame. That is then covered with a laminate, and then the casket hardware, rollers, and beer pins are installed on top of that. The heavy-duty upholstery department is where the trim is installed, the vinyl top is installed, and the landau bar, which is a signature of the Hearse, is installed. Well, some of the guys are a little bit superstitious about anything associated with the funeral industry. So we have had a few people that didn't want to work on hearses and requested to work on other assembly lines. We have a saying here that between limousines and buses and hearses, we get you coming and going. I have no superstitions about working in a hearse factory. I know I'll end up in one someday, and I hope it's a nice one.
Not so fast, Greg. With cremations making up more than 40% of funerals today, you may not ride in a hearse at all. You could go from a cold slab to a minivan to a memorial service and to a crematorium without any of the extra expenses or even a visit to a funeral home. But don't fear, hearse processions aren't going anywhere because there will always be the enthusiast. With the support of numerous funeral homes, professional car societies, cemeteries, and the Peterson Automotive Museum, 75 hearse enthusiasts decided to set the Guinness World Record for the world's longest hearse procession during bad traffic in downtown Los Angeles. Now, if that's not scary, I don't know what is. Whether you choose to ride in a hearse or not, it's up to you. After all, it's your funeral. But although the hearse has changed a lot over the years, and maybe it doesn't get used as much as it used to, I still think it's a vehicle that deserves some respect. On account of, if you do ride in one, it'll probably be the last ride you ever take. Oh,